there is a Democrat Republican Bloods Crips split on this issue.
Blood
And
Crips
it's
split?
They wear the same color.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yo, it's Marty.
And Fernie.
And you're listening to
The Trackstarz. You in the field with them.
Dang.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Make sure you go to trackstarz.com for all the latest. Follow us on all the outlets. Make sure, do one thing for me. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. If you've already subscribed, refresh that joint because we need to get up on the iTunes chart. Like that's unbelievable that it's not on there yet. So go do that for me right now and leave a comment, leave a review. And make sure you go to TrueStrengthApparel.com. That's our sponsor. They take care of us really well, so make sure you support them. And go to audibletrial.com/Trackstarz and get a free book on us. So we're about to do my favorite topic in the world, transgender. I hate this topic because it's actually hard. It's actually a hard thing to tackle in my mind. But our president just banned transgender individuals from the military. What is our reaction to that? And how do we address this? Not everything that's going on. That could be a whole show of Trump. But this specific thing, how do we react to that?
Anybody want to go first?
I mean, I think this is just a matter of saying, like, can you, first of all, I don't even know if this fully relates, but can you push your morals on other people? Like, can you force them to do things because you morally believe something? I don't really fully understand, I mean, other than the fact of saying, you know, medical bills and, like, them not wanting to pay, like, that was something that we did talk about. But honestly, in the way in which our money is used is already not used wisely, so I don't understand why that would be such a large problem. But I don't get it. Like, I don't get why they can't be in the military. Like, it does not make sense to me. I just feel like it's very petty and, yeah, insensitive. But
this was a bone, right? He threw a bone to
This guy's Russia.
Well, no. Yeah,
No, I mean like to not disguise Russia, but just to take people off Russia.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm actually
Everything he does is for that. This was to distract from the Sessions stuff.
Okay.
Jeff Sessions stuff, I believe. So, however he got to this, why? So it obviously was for some group of people. Some group of people in the world were cheering when this happened. I don't know who. I haven't seen them even on Fox. I haven't seen who agrees with this.
yeah,
But why? Okay, this doesn't seem like a Christian issue to fight about. Does it?
I mean, because people,
No, it doesn't.
There's already some transgenders in the army already.
There's thousands of them.
Thousands, yeah. So it's like, that's the confusing part. Like, I was like,
I was
where
trying to
did this
figure out
come
the
from?
grounds. Yeah, what are the grounds for
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I
for
don't
the
know
ban?
everything about it, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah, I'm a little confused because nothing about somebody serving in the military. What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with us at all? Like, I don't understand that. There's some things where I'm like, okay, I understand. Like, when Christians, you know, we're talking about Christians, and you see them, they're sliding into things that we don't agree with. That's something you just don't do that.
I wish I could have played Tommy Lauren something because I saw a video she talked about.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah,
so she must have agreed.
She agreed with it.
Okay,
she agreed with it,
What
but I
was
don't
she
want.
saying?
She was saying some stuff of how it was something about procedure.
Okay, here's what it is. I just figured it out. It's the fact that they don't want their tax dollars going to support these surgeries.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what.
That's like
Okay,
the
okay,
only.
okay.
So,
element,
would you get the surgery in the military? I don't understand. I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
military you can.
You get healthcare.
Their benefits cover it.
My assumption was that if you're transgender, you've already had the surgery.
No.
Some
No.
people are
No,
going
you're in the
through it.
process.
They're going through in the process.
Yeah, there's some people who are in the military. You see them the before and the after. So they're saying, I don't want my money that's going to
So
supposed
fund
to be
your
the-
sex change, basically.
So and I'm using myself as an example. If a person has had a sex change already before enrolling in the
they're
military,
banned too. They're banned too.
that's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
How does that?
Because they're just saying, hey man, it's
Did
a
they
lot of.
saved
it's-
up their
What he's saying
coins?
is, there's just a lot of work. That's basically what they're saying, right? It's just a lot of work. You want to do it.
So stay away. Just get out of here. Now here's a question. So who's going to go fight?
There's a lot of other people.
Oh, I'm just saying, but if I mean, I've heard rumors that the military is not as strong as it used
It's
to be.
1% of
like it's dying down. People are not like signing up to join.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing people even rumored of a draft. Like if somebody decided to do a draft again.
What was offensive
people
was
do drafts.
one of the aides, one of Trump's aides, went on and said, "Hey, this is actually Trump is doing this for them. We don't want to force them to go fight when a lot of them have mental issues." And it was just like, what?
Side compliments as you talk.
So it was just so offensive.
You're crazy. So
Are
don't go
gays
fight.
still allowed in the military?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like,
I guess you're recovering, so just sit on the side, and then while we're doing this, we can go out.
It's
That's
problematic because it's red meat for the right. I just don't know where, like, this didn't strike me as something that, man, I just don't know how to pin. This is the hardest topic in the world for me because it's just so. Yeah, I'm struggling with this one, man.
it is.
I'm
The
struggling
topic
with this
itself is a tough topic. I mean, the military
It's
thing, we
identity
can, you
at
know,
the end of the day.
it is. It
It's
does go
identity.
back to identity. And I mean,
Yeah.
we were even talking earlier this week about how there are a lot of transgenders who say from an early age, like, they knew that they were supposed to be a different gender. And, you know, I mean, you've heard that before with people that have come out of the closet and are homosexuals. But at the same time, what attributes to someone knowing at an early age or believing at an early age that they're supposed to be something other than how they were genetically designed by God?
So the question is, isn't some people believe transgender is a mental issue?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
I'll think the same thing
Isn't
about
that-
homosexuality. Would you think the same thing?
No, I don't. You think it's a mental issue?
I mean, back in the day, they were saying you was.
That's how it
But
was
that's not
labeled.
It was labeled back in the day.
That's not what it actually is.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
But
saying.
would you
from
say that's what
the
being
scientific
transgender is?
I don't
either?
think it is either.
Yeah.
So isn't that offensive
I'm pretty sure it is for a transgender. It's offensive.
to say
I
it's
mean-
a mental? I don't see it as a mental issue. I see it as maybe a spiritual issue, something like that. But
That's
mental?
offensive too, right?
Well, but in my world, everything that
It's
isn't
not
based on the Bible is a
Bible,
spiritual
spiritual
issue.
issue,
I have
yeah.
spiritual issues, so
Yeah.
that's not. I don't think it is. But to say it's a mental thing, like it's like you're crazy.
I think for what somebody was saying is like years ago they had mental issues in books, and they would have different issues that they would consider mental issues: homosexuality, transgender, anything. They would call
That you
like,
can't control.
That you couldn't control. They would call it a mental issue.
But that's
back
not
in the
what
day.
but that's not even what it is. Even as a Christian, that's not what it is. So I don't understand why this is being raised as Christians.
I think there is an actual like psychological or whatever term, like gender dysphoria. Is that what it's called? It says the condition of feeling one's emotional and psychological identity as male or female to be opposite to one's biological sex. Now, also recognizing none of us have actually studied. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of us have studied psychology in depth, but I just think there's elements that we can't even fully begin to know unless we are like truly like
Right.
researching and delving into it ourselves.
So there's a debate in Periscope that it's not that they're paying for the changes, but they're paying their salaries with our tax dollars, which goes to the I don't know.
Okay, but I just found an article talking about like the budget with the whole situation and how it was saying that the reason was due to tremendous medical costs and disruption to the armed forces. That's what they're saying the reason is. And that it cost about, let's see, what is it saying? $1.3 million, I guess, are going to openly transgender service members. I'm just kind of perusing over this.
So
I could
are
be
they?
getting wrong.
But the
But-
the debate in the chat is, and I don't know if they settled the debate yet, that it's not going to the procedure. It's just going to their salary, and they're using their salary for these things. If that's true, then
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
really
like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do that
yeah.
regardless. If
Yeah.
you want to have a
If-
sex change, you're gonna have a
Yeah.
sex change. Like,
What I do with my money is my business. If we're
But then
going
it's-
based off that,
it-
if you're
it's-
paying me to be in the army,
yeah, and I'm doing that.
and
But it's
I'm
also
still doing what I'm supposed to do in general. So whatever I'm doing with my money, that's none of your business, right?
it also says it's affecting their ability to deploy. But if we're just looking at numbers, it says $84 million on medications goes towards things like Viagra. So if they're concerned about 1.3 million or 8.4 or whatever the number amount is toward these transgender procedures or medications, then why aren't you concerned about the 84 million?
I don't understand.
If this is correct. I mean, I did just
I'm
look
sure.
it up,
I'm
so.
sure the government's funding plenty of other sins right now.
I don't understand that.
Exactly.
And
Just saying.
there's a debate in the chat right now that is, I don't understand the mental part. Like, as a Christian, we know that these issues that we bring up are spiritual issues.
Yeah.
Mental is like a chemical thing.
But I think
not
some
a
things,
spiritual
and I'm
thing.
not saying that transgender is that, but I do think that, like, in terms of other mental things, some things are chemical imbalance in your brain. Like,
Right.
just that's how some things are. So I'm not saying that this is. I'm just saying that, like, there might be different forms and elements of things that we just don't know about. So, like, yeah, I believe definitely that things are spiritual, but also, like, some stuff is just a chemical imbalance as well. And that could be a spiritual result. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that imbalances are a thing.
I mean, I'm sure that may be a component, but I think overall, conservative Christians have a difficult time acknowledging the spiritual from a broad stance. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Because
I
it lends
completely
itself
agree.
to the whole charismatic side of Christianity.
I completely agree
You know
with
what I
that.
mean? So I
100%.
think it's very rare that you're going to have a conservative Christian just flat out say this is a spiritual issue, because
right.
that delves into a whole nother realm that some Christians aren't comfortable with.
Let's take it back then. Then it goes almost back to trying to keep you from letting the law keep you, basically. You know what I'm saying? If we're saying that based off conservative Christianity, it's like we're putting these laws in place to save you. You know what I mean? Like.
But it doesn't work that way, and we should know that based on the Bible.
It
Like,
causes
laws don't save
it causes
you.
rebellion. The
Yeah.
more you try to enforce and try to get someone to
Why are you
act
looking like
a
that?
certain way.
I just don't like this debate. I don't like it.
I don't even know. I don't honestly even know if this is a debate. I just feel like
No, it is a debate. You
It
need to
is?
read the Periscope.
oh, I'm not looking.
I don't like it.
What they saying?
I don't like the debate.
I know you got to bring us in because I'm
I mean, I'm seeing back and forth. I know.
I just think we should be sensitive of people who are minorities, and sensitive of the marginalized, and sensitive of those who we do not understand, and try and really
can't.
understand
Truth
what.
is truth.
Excuse me.
I
I said you
think-
can.
No.
Truth is truth.
No, you have to be
Sensitivity and
sensitive and
tolerance.
compassionate with people who are not like you.
You-
Otherwise,
you have compassion for them, but at the same time, if I'm saying this is like you just said, this is a spiritual issue. If somebody hears that, they're gonna be like, "Nah, I don't have a spiritual issue. What are you talking about?"
But you have
But
to
when I
be-
say spiritual issue, I wouldn't say that to somebody who is just out there in the world. I'll say that to a brother or sister in Christ.
I know, but what
Like,
I'm saying,
that's
like,
where that
if a
conversation is.
transgender female came into a church and she's like, I enjoy this church, and somebody comes up and say they have a spiritual issue, she has a spiritual issue, she's gonna be offended by that.
But you use wisdom. Like he said, you don't just go up to some random person. You don't have
No, I'm
relationship.
talking about if a pastor is talking and he's talking about spiritual conditions and he's saying this is a spirit, this is an evil spirit, this is this, and it's something that somebody's like, that's not me. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
So I
Well-
think the language, it's a matter of the spirit. Issue, if you're offended by the word issue, it is a matter of the spirit. This is a spiritual discussion.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. This
Yeah.
is something going on inside of your spirit. This is
Yeah.
not just, in my mind, this is not just a mental thing to me. If anything, to me, anything that deviates away from what we believe the Bible says
Yeah.
is a spiritual matter.
Yeah, and I get that.
That's
but
what I mean.
I'm going to what she's saying, that somebody's going to feel offended if you say that.
That's ridiculous.
No,
If-
this is what I'm saying.
Whether you agree with me or not, how can you be offended if I think it's a spiritual matter?
Because they say that to me, I don't have that spiritual matter.
But
you see what I mean?
But if I'm telling you
No.
everything is a spiritual matter, and this is as well,
I'm
They
saying
may
people
say-
going to be offended anyway.
That,
People
however,
will be.
though many people may be offended, we as Christians should be very cautious and try to understand where
is-
people
you know-
are
you
coming
know what
from.
I would say compassionate more than cautious.
you know what this debate is?
I
This-
think that
this-
will
This
yeah,
is,
but I think. Oh, I'm
this
sorry.
is the Lecrae Charlene debate. I'm seeing this debate in everything now.
What?
There is two sides.
my.
There's two factions in the church on every issue, and this is one of them. There's
are the
people
two
who
factions?
are, you gotta say it how it is, no holds barred, pull out the sword and cut. And then there's people that are saying, yo, in my world, that's not effective. You gotta love people. You gotta ease up on them. So it's just two different worlds, and I'm seeing that split in every conversation I'm seeing
But
between
I
Christians.
think it's both. I think
It
we
is
have to
both.
use wisdom. And what I'm saying is the church has not been able to address certain issues because we haven't been educated on things. So we're just going off of our ignorance, trying to tell people you're wrong, you're going to hell. But you don't know this person. You don't have any relationship with them. What you're saying could be true, but you've never sat down with this person and developed a relationship and really tried to love them.
That's the split I'm
It's
talking
not-
about.
But I think it's both and.
Right,
It's
right.
not, you have to be truthful and say, yeah, you're a sinner, and because you're a sinner, you are going to go to hell if you do not repent of your sins.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you start off the conversation.
Right, but there's a split that says you do, and there's a split that says you don't. You're on one side of it, and there's people on the other side of it. And I'm seeing that same split in every conversation. That's what I'm saying. Some people say you don't
You just
softball.
realized that?
No, I'm just saying that. I didn't realize that every conversation has the
It's
same
been
split.
like that though.
But I don't think it's always, I don't think that that's for every conversation.
I
Like,
do.
I think,
It has been.
well, no,
like
what
that.
I'm saying is I think that you can use wisdom on how to
You're
address
saying what
a
it
certain
should be. I'm saying
situation.
what it is.
Oh,
It
okay.
is a split right now
Okay.
on every conversation, and it usually follows the line of, this is how it is. I don't care what anybody has to say about it. And then there's another side that says, it may be how it is, but you can't talk to people that way. And that's usually the split that I'm seeing.
I just know that if we're not loving and kind, that we can hurt people more than we're helping them. Because I've done it myself in ignorance and just saying like that's a sin and completely dehumanizing someone just because your sin is different than mine. So now I have to push you away and I don't know how to like have a conversation with this. So I'm going to act like it's not there.
But for
that's
some,
not healthy.
But for some people, they feel like you're speaking the truth.
softballing.
You're speaking the truth, but you're speaking the truth. But the other side of you is running away from telling people the truth about.
They
what
feel
their
like,
life-
yeah, the other
No.
side of the conversation would
No.
say you're being ashamed of the gospel,
Yeah.
and you're not just
and
saying
I would
it
tell
how it
them
is.
they need to sit down with themselves and Jesus and ask themselves, what is the point of the gospel? Is it just to condemn or is it also for redemption?
It's wrath and grace.
Exactly. And so are you missing an element? Are you missing the grace part? We need both. So,
That's
Selah.
interesting.
There's a split. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it.
There is a
But it's
split.
always been there. That's what I'm saying. Like it's always been. We've always have people where somebody is open air preaching right now as we speaking, telling somebody like you're going to bust
Repent.
hell, you're
You're
going to
going to
repent,
hell.
and then it's somebody else that's going to come right behind that person and be like, "Come along with me, let me clothe you. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation." So you have those two spectrums. It's always been here. We just realizing it because stuff has been happening in our sub community.
But there is a Democrat Republican Bloods Crips split on this issue.
Ah!
And it's I
They wear the same color.
I
They
don't
do.
like that.
Yeah.
I don't
Wow.
like that we're so divided, this divisive about every single issue when it comes to the Bible. That bothers me.
but I think
It
that's
bothers
where it
me.
comes where we have to sit together and recognize we do not know everything. The problem comes when we think we can open up our mouth and speak on every issue when we don't know anything about the issue. That's where the problem comes.
I
We
think-
have to be humble.
The problem also is that we think it's like you were saying, one or the other instead of both, which means we need each other because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't cover all bases from one perspective. Like, if anything, the conversation should remind us that we need to work together.
Right.
Yeah, to me it's like as boldly as people say their point of view and their version of the truth of how you're supposed to handle these biblical truths, I see the sin in that. I don't know if everybody else sees it. I see the sin in being so sure that you're right about how you do what you're doing. Because what it does is it causes division. Because you're basically looking at your brother and your sister and you're saying, you're an idiot for thinking the way you think.
Right.
Because I have this right. Even if you happen to be right, that attitude to me
It's pride.
is sin to
It
me.
is.
Yeah, it
I see it. And I'm like, I hate the fact that the one thing Jesus prayed for was that we be one, and we cannot, for the life of us, answer his prayer. He answers so many of our prayers. We cannot react to his prayer well at all, and we refuse to. In politics, in hip-hop, in transgender debate, we cannot. We refuse to listen to that prayer.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. It bothers me. Anyway, let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.